This guide will cover everything you need to know to get to 30 million bounty easily, from general and advanced tips to the best fighting styles, fruits, guns, accessories, swords, races, and much more in a very detailed guide. Enter by liking this video, subscribing. Alright, so starting things off, let's talk about finding your setup and learning what goes together. First things first, you want to decide what kind of playstyle you want to go for, as there is many different options. If you're someone like me who values things like movement, escape options, and surprise attacks, then a fruit like Portal or Rumble would be best for you. The reason for this is because both of these fruits specialize in helping you move around very quickly, to easily catch your enemies off guard, as well as making you extremely hard to hit, and generally just making you very annoying to fight against. With that in mind, if you're someone who values things like being easy to play and beginner friendly, then fruits such as Dough or Ice would be best for you. Because these fruits, while they do sacrifice valuable things in PvP like movement, they are very strong when it comes to things like raw combo potential. Reason for this being that every move on both of these fruits Ken breaks, generally just making all of your combos almost guaranteed to kill because they aren't Ken trickable. In fact, very quickly let's go over what Ken tricking is for anyone who may be new or just doesn't know about it. So Ken tricking is your way of avoiding one-shot combos in this game, and it's probably the most useful thing to help you survive when you're in the middle of an enemy player's combo. So the basic idea is that you want to keep your observation hotkey, or Ken for short, off until you need it to escape a combo. Like I'm showing on screen, you can see how I wait for my friend's gravity cane ability with my Ken off, and then when it hits and he tries to combo me, I turn it back on to avoid the damage and escape from the combo. With that out of the way, let's go over the best fruits for PvP. So here we have a list of the best PvP fruits, and I'm going to go down quickly and explain each one and a brief explanation of why they're good. Starting off with Portal, you're uncatchable, unkillable, and basically never have to worry about losing bounty. And even if you do find yourself in a hard situation, you can just say bye-bye and leave your opponent very angry in the chat. Moving on to Rumble, Rumble is very good because of its quick movement and good stuns, and on top of all of that, Rumble is probably one of the most versatile fruits in the game, being able to be ran with either fruit main stats, sword main stats, and even being one of the best gun main fruits, it really is just all around good. Moving on to Kitsune, if you want the easiest fruit in the game to play, being generally good at everything, Kitsune has the second quickest movement in the game, being even faster than Awaken Light when you combine it with the pilot helmet accessory, only being beaten by Portal's World Warp, as that's just an instant teleport. On top of all that, this fruit also has amazing combo potential, along with a very good spam inside the transformation, and even in the hybrid form with just tails. This fruit is pretty broken, as it is just good at everything, and is very noob friendly. Its only cons being that it still struggles against fruits like Portal, and how hard it is to obtain, being just ridiculously expensive. Moving on to Dough, this fruit, while being not as good as the others because it lacks movement, which is very important in PvP, it is still very strong due to the insane combo potential, and the fact that almost all of its combos are true due to Dough's moves just not being Kentrickable. Something to keep in mind is that even though there will always be the best fruits in terms of the meta, that doesn't mean these other fruits aren't good, because every fruit can be absolutely insane in the hands of someone who has practiced it. With that in mind, let's now move on how to choose what sword, gun, and accessory you want to use with your fruit. So you really want to be thinking about your fruit's strong points and weak points. Let's take a fruit like Ice, for example, where you don't really have the best of movement options, so you'd want to pick an accessory that makes up for that. For example, when playing fruits like Ice or Dough even, the best accessories to go for would typically be things like the pilot helmet, due to the insane speed buff, making up for your lack of movement abilities. On the other hand, if you're using fruits that already come with good movement options, such as Portal or Rumble, then you want to prioritize either damage or utility, and thankfully with accessories like the Kitsune Ribbon or Hunter's Cape, you really get to have the best of all worlds, getting amazing speed buffs, defense buffs, damage buffs, and increased health and health regen, and even a cooldown reduction on your flash step, just all together making you really hard to catch. With that said, before we move on to actual gameplay tips, I would like to go over how to choose your sword and fighting style, as they are just the core parts of your combos. So typically you want to make sure that either your sword or your fighting style has a good stun skill, as you don't want to just be relying on your fruit to start your combo. Something to understand is, say you're playing fruits like Portal and Rumble, after you use your main stun skill, you really don't have anything else to start a combo with, which just leaves you fishing for that one stun if you're running a build that doesn't properly go together. With that in mind, there are two fighting styles that will go with literally any fruit that will just generally make your fights a lot easier. Those two fighting styles being a toss-up between God Human and Sanguine Art. These are pretty much the universal truths, whereas these fighting styles will just work with all fruits, and will usually be your best in slot options. The reason for this is because the abilities on these fighting styles are just broken, giving you insane, easy to do combos, and easy to hit abilities. Because of this, the best fighting style I can recommend is going to be Sanguine Art. This is because it is by far the easiest fighting style in the game to combo with, along with just having a very broken kit. For example, the C move is a grab move that will pull your enemy in front of you, along with summoning 5 leeches to attack your opponent. This can extend just about any combo in the game, as well as lining them up right in front of you, and if that wasn't enough, you also have the Z move Bloodbane Drain, which will heal you for 20% of your max HP, allowing allowing you to be able to make pretty insane comebacks in fights where you might be losing. And here's a pretty insane example of this where I'm using the Angel heal along with the Sanguine heal at the same time to just get like almost all of my health back. Another amazing option being almost on par with Sanguine Art, and in some builds being even better, is going to be God Human. The reason for this is because God Human has one of the best combo starters in the game with the C move, the 6-realm gun, being very easy to hit and taking priority over everything else in the game. And what I mean by taking priority is even if you're hit while you're charging this ability up, you'll super armor through it and just proceed to punch them in the face. For your swords, while there are a lot of great options in the game, and you really can use whatever you want, your best options will always be the Dragon Trident and Gravity Cane. The reason why for these two swords specifically are as follows. They work with every single build in the game, they have amazing Ken-breaking combo starters that are very easy to hit and have great range, they are the easiest weapons to combo with, and they are just the most effective at easily winning your fights. And please do keep in mind that these other swords can also be great options and probably more fun to play, but they just aren't as broken as the top two. Alright, now moving on for your guns, let's talk about the best ones for you. If you're planning to just use your gun to extend your combos and don't plan on having any stat points into it, then your best options are going to be the Kabucha and Soul Guitar. The Kabucha just being amazing at extending your combos and making them almost impossible to escape, and the Soul Guitar just giving you a giant AoE stun that will also heal you for a slight amount of HP that scales off the amount of targets hit. With that in mind, if you're planning on running a gun main build, then you're going to want either the Acid Rifle or Bazaar Rifle, as sadly, they really are just the only two good guns for gun mains. With all that out of the way, let's get into general and advanced tips to help you get the edge over the enemy player. So the first thing I want to talk about is about knowing when to go in, because I see a lot of people playing either too passively or just don't really know what to do. So a good general rule of thumb is keeping track of your opponent's cooldowns. For example, if I'm fighting someone running the Soul Guitar, I know most likely if I start to play really aggressively, they will most likely try to back up a bit and use their Soul Guitar X to try and catch me in a stun. But once you know the enemy player has used a vital part of their kit, whether it be abilities like the Soul Guitar X or Doe's Pastry River, or even a sword ability like the Dragon Trident X, you now have what you can call a window to go in. Basically, this is when you want to turn your aggressiveness to 90, because now they are missing big parts of their winning potential. With that out of the way, let's now talk about combos. So once you decide what you want to use, you want to learn a combo, but before you try to become the next self-proclaimed combo GOAT, you want to start with the basics. What I mean by this is just spend some time either with a friend or even on an NPC just seeing what basic moves can go together, as well as learning shorter versions of long combos for not just building up the muscle memory, but also making sure that even if some of your abilities are on cooldown, you have a shorter combo to still get some damage in. The next thing I want to talk about is enchanting your swords and guns. So if you head to the Tiki Outpost in the 3rd sea, which is directly in front of the castle here, and go up this tower here, you can actually get some pretty valuable rolls for PvP, completely free to play, with just the common and rare scrolls, or if you are someone who's okay with grinding the Leviathan, even legendary or mythic scrolls. But the best enchantments, to be honest with you guys, aren't even the blessings, it's the other rolls that aren't even as hard to get. For example, on my true triple katana, even though it has burning, the real thing that makes it do the damage in PvP is this right here, piercing level 3. And along with just having other amazing damage buffs, you really don't need to use mythic scrolls because the main stats you really want to go for are things like piercing and deadly. If you made it to the end of this, I really appreciate you watching the whole thing. And don't forget, this Sunday I am doing a giveaway for 6 mythical scrolls, which you can enter by subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and leaving a comment that you're done so I can see it. Please be sure to leave a comment, because if you don't, I probably won't see your entry and it'll be really hard to get you entered. And thank you guys